Hi, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, good evening, sir. This is Kamalakannan.
Yeah, this Ramakrishna.
So joined.
Okay, everyone joined or I'm late?
Yeah. Arvind, Sri Ranjani, Kamal. Yeah.
I think meeting is 6:30, correct?
Yeah. 3 more minutes. Yeah.
Okay,
Arvind,
okay.
Arvind, you are there? Arvind?
Arvind is in mute.
Yeah. Good evening, Sri Ranjani.
Good evening, Kamal sir.
Arvind, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Your voice, can you just increase your volume?
Yeah. Can you start it now?
Still.
Still it's not audible. Okay, give me a second. I'll just work with my iPhone and get back to you.
Kamalakannan, very happy to meet you all.
Yeah.
And very sorry, I am actually driving. So that
No
is the
issues,
reason
Ramesh.
I can't able to join. Okay. So
No
our
issues.
team will be there in the backup and they will be coordinating with you all.
Okay.
And we have the sessions also. Thank you so much for immediate acceptance of our pre-conference.
My
And
pleasure.
very happy that the team, all team connecting together to discuss on the carbon, how it is going to be, we can able to support in that. Not only that, how the Sustainable Development Goal 7, affordable and clean energy, we all collectively work together and support for a global cause. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, Ramesh. Yeah. Mr. Balamurugan is there?
Yes, sir. I'm also there, sir. But
yeah, please.
Yeah,
you can
so
as well.
Yeah, we'll be starting the program right away, sir. So the campaigning, she's Soumya. So are we ready?
Mr. Kamalakannan is then just on discussion, correct? Just a discussion among us.
Yeah. See, while giving an introduction, sir, I might even say like how we are going to proceed for this panel discussion. Okay, so it will be a common open forum so that see everybody has an experience in this, so that it will not be a issue. And it is a common topic of carbon mitigation. So I think you can share your views as such. Can we start? It is 6:30.
Yes, sir. It's a sharp 6:30, so we'll start the program right away. We can start up.
Yes.
So we can give an introduction, sir. So about the past and what could be.
Okay.
Zagira, ma'am. So can we start? Okay, so good evening, everyone. So this is IGEN, Institution of Green Engineers, which is working for carbon credentials. So, like, this is going to be the second pre-conference. Yes, Radha Mohan sir. So you are there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm there, sir.
Yes, sir. So we shall start the program, sir.
Yes, sir. So shall I give the welcome address, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So I welcome one and all, and mainly the president of IGEN, Dr. L. Ramesh sir, and Vice President Dr. Bala sir, and then the Director of IGEN, Gokul sir, and the organizing committees and secretaries and committee and teams for joining us for the conference, pre-conference 2 for the IGEN ENERGATHON 2023. So we have a list of events and we have speakers for the today's session, and we hopefully the session will go on smoothly, and I expect the full coordination from all the team members and the other committee members to execute today's conference with full-fledged uh, uh, proceedings. And I welcome you all again. Thank you very much. I'm handing over this podium to Dr. Bala, sir. Please, sir.
Yes, sir. So thank you so much, Radha Mohan, sir. So it is a great evening that today we are about to start the second pre-conference session, which is going to be the greater event today. So we are about to talk about the carbon mitigation and the carbon sequestration process, where a common man can attribute, and how the organizations also helping out in bringing a change to the society. So before that, we would have a good word with our director Gokul sir. So I welcome Gokul sir to brief about the process. Thank you, Gokul sir.
Yeah, so very good evening to all, and also panelist member. Definitely, I think IGEN is doing a wonderful work in the coming days, especially for the green engineers contribution. With that, I think we have initiated the ENERGATHON, IGEN ENERGATHON. This is the second ENERGATHON of 2023. And this is the second pre-conference which is happening around the world. And definitely, we are so delighted to have eminent panelists from various places of our state. To say about, I think IGEN ENERGATHON, I think it is to contribute the energy action and support SDG goal number 7. It is nothing but affordable and clean energy. The Institution of Green Engineers conceived the concept of energy action marathon titled ENERGATHON during the COVID crisis with the indexing of 50th Earth Day. The first world attempt record of IGEN ENERGATHON 2020 was launched and completed with an award from the Asia Book of Record and the India Book of Record for almost 13.36 hours. It's a non-stop virtual conference with 40 speakers and 10 partners. In accordance with that, today the world record attempt of IGEN ENERGATHON 2023 has begun. I think next week we have almost 5 days, 5 hours to initiate our IGEN ENERGATHON. So in order to make it a much more success, I think we have initiated our pre-conference various panelists. IGEN ENERGATHON 2023 is an Earth Day indexed non-stop 16 hours marathon on energy for sustainability in analysis and recommendations for SDG 7 and related United goals scheduled on 27th May 2023. The goal is to bring almost together various people, various scientists, as well as like various community of people around the world, and which we are going to see in the upcoming session. We have various speakers across the board, and the country's participation is almost nearly somewhere around 17 countries people are going to participate. And in India, I think it's going to be a pan-India of almost 20 states of peoples are going to join, where the 1,000 students and 2,000 the players, like private players, is going to join in this conference. Definitely, this is going to bring up a new change for our SDG 7. And very important to see the clean energy and affordable is very important factor for not only for our individual, it is for the global earth. So definitely IGEN is doing a wonderful work. We hope, I think today panel discussion, which is going to talk about the carbon economy, it is one of the important factor where the entire world is talking about it. It is also going to give a payment for especially for the various GDP growth, as well as for the various initiations around the world. Definitely IGEN is going to play an important role. I also thank all the IGEN, the volunteers, organizers, and the directors who have been initiated this event. And definitely we will always prove the entire world can be also made as a very green and clean by the word of everybody's individual. Thank you so much for giving me opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Gokul sir. So it was a wonderful introduction, as well as the deliberation on ENERGATHON, so how it is going to impact the world. And this is the work which is done in the, not only by the Indians, so it is the entire world joined together for the common cause of carbon mitigations and carbon sequestration process. So how the people are talking about the menace of the society can be tackled, and where engineering can work together. So to make as a product, or it can be as a process to ensure that it is going to be good process management for mitigating that carbon. So also this ENERGATHON is in this year we are going to focus only on SDG 7. It is about affordable and clean energy. So we have a lot of talks and a lot of team working on it with a lot of program. So that is going to be portrayed by next week. Before that, this pre-conference 2 will portray on SDG 7 in common man approach as well as the organization's contribution towards carbon mitigation. So this could be discussed by the team, renowned team which has joined, and would have introductions of each and everyone by our moderator, none other than our lovable Kamal sir. So I hand over the session quickly to Kamal sir. So please take over, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Balamurugan and the entire team of IGEN for this wonderful panel discussion. And to start with, good evening, everyone, and welcome all to the wonderful webinar on panel discussion on the very need of another topic, carbon mitigation, organized by IGEN ENERGATHON 2023, which is setting up a new world record for this longest conference on SDGs goals, particularly SDG 7, affordable and clean energy towards sustainability. So today, it's a very great pleasure and honor to be the moderator for today's panel discussion. And we are going to be talking on the subject carbon dioxide mitigation means reducing and balancing the levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which every one of us has to understand clearly the serious threat of the global warming, the rise in temperature, and reaching up to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and wanted to have a control system not to get increased furthermore. So we all have set targets on time frame and working towards that to make a carbon neutral atmosphere. So this session is going to be an interesting one, and you all will be enjoying it. So to start with, like I hope you all are ready for the session. So this is how we shall be presenting this session. We'll be having a kind of introduction and topic presentation by each of the panelists for a time slot of 15 minutes each. So first speaker is going to be Ms. Sriranjani Srinivasan. I'll hand over the mic to.
Thank you, Mr. Kamal. Thank you, IGEN, for inviting me to this panel discussion today. It was a sudden call that I received, and I'm so glad to be here at the moment. So, without much further, would it be possible if for me to share my screen? I'd like to present something.
Yes, of course, you can.
Right. That's great. So I'll just do that. It says the host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay.
Can the host just give me?
Yes, ma'am, it's done.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna. Yes, my screen is visible, right? Okay, so I'm going to be talking on this particular topic today, helping mitigate climate change from home. So this is predominantly the content of my presentation today, where I will be setting a little background on climate change. We will go on further to understanding what carbon footprint is, and I'll talk a little about the strategies to reduce emissions and sort of give a way forward to finish up with. This is a beautiful picture. I'm sure all of you will agree. This is a photograph of a lake, a freshwater lake in the reserve forest area of Kodaikanal. It's called the Berichem Lake. This is a photograph that was taken by my father a couple of about 15 years ago. And I have this photograph framed at home. So I have a 6-year-old niece. And when she saw this for the first time, she asked me what this place was. And I gave her all of the stories associated with this place of how wonderful it was, because I have been to this place a couple of times, and it's wonderful being there. I mean, it's always great to be with nature. So that's how this place was. So I went on to explain all about it, told her the kind of ecosystem that's there, the kind of wildlife that you can see here, and all of that. So she was extremely excited listening to this whole factors of or the whole aspect of this particular lake. And about a year after I was telling her about it, we did get a chance to take her to the same particular lake. And she was even more excited because she wanted to see for herself all of this that's there in the picture. This is what she saw, unfortunately. This was last year, and the lake had, I wouldn't say dried up, but the kind of water, the water level had definitely receded. We could see a lot of deforestation that had occurred in that area by such. So she was shocked. And the first thing she asked me was, I really don't believe this is the same place. And I could understand her disappointment because it was a shock to me as well. I couldn't comprehend of how a time span of 15 years could bring about so much of devastation to a place which was actually not completely habitated by humans. This is in our backyard in Kodaikanal here in Tamil Nadu in India. This is a photograph of the city of Buffalo in New York State. And this was an image taken during the bomb cyclone that occurred in December 2022. This was called the once in a generation type of cyclone. And this particular city of Buffalo in New York State received close to 566 centimeters of snow. And they said this has never occurred before in history. A different image. This is across the continent. This is the Swiss Alps. This is the Gardner Glacier that's in Switzerland. And the photograph on the left was in 1930. And the photograph here on the right is, I think it was 2021 or 22. So you can see how much of snow has receded. And they've said close to 51% of the glacial ice in the Swiss Alps have receded within a span of 80 years. This is much more recent. This occurred as of the dates of May 7th and 6th, so the first week of May, a couple of weeks ago. And it was called the monster heat wave across Asia. India has also recorded some of its highest temperatures for the last couple of weeks. And the World Meteorological Organization has said global temperatures are set to break records during the next 5 years. I remember as a child, when I was in school, we've had people tell us that there is something called climate change. It's bound to happen. It will happen if we don't take care of things. But I must say, we're facing it now. So defining climate change based on all of what's happened, what I've shown you so far, it's basically shifting long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. And these predominantly happen because of burning of fossil fuels like coal, gas, oil. These produce heat-trapping gases, which naturally trap heat within the Earth's atmosphere. And as a result of which, there's an increase in average global temperatures, leading to glacial ice melting and all of the other phenomena that we're facing in climate. So based on this, there's a lot that's happening across the world. Each organization, there are various organizations that have been formed. UN that has been doing its part, and we have so many of these protocols that have come into play. So, and based on which all organizations, they sort of they say they want to go carbon neutral, they want to go net zero. They're taking care of their businesses being very sustainable. All of this, but very often there's a question that I get asked. I have some people who come to me and they'll be like, all of these are things that organizations can do. I am an individual. So what can I do? I'm somebody who's sitting at home. I don't have access to majority of the things that they're talking about. But what can I do? How can I play my part in taking care of mitigating climate change? So what needs to be understood here is each of us have something called the carbon footprint. All of us. And a carbon footprint is basically the amount of greenhouse gas emissions or the amount of carbon emissions that occurs as a result of any of the activities or every activity that we do. Simply said, right from the time we wake up in the morning, right, go through our everyday activity and then head back to bed. All of the activities impact climate in either directly or indirectly. So if I'm going to say directly impacting, then let's take, for instance, my the energy I use at home or my commute to work, my travel. All of this, I'm using up some form of energy that's going to directly be impacting climate. The indirect way of impacting it is by means of me going ahead and purchasing things or me generating some amount of waste based on my consumption. All of this falls under the category of indirect. So if I'm able to, or if you as an individual are able to understand what your carbon footprint is and work towards reducing it, then that is a certain amount of help that you can do to mitigate climate change. So what is the carbon footprint? Like I mentioned, the total amount of greenhouse gases, including carbon dioxide and methane, and there are a whole lot of gases that's included in this envelope of greenhouse gases. And it gets generated by all of our actions. Now, the global average for a person is 4 tons, okay, 4 tons of greenhouse gases. And statistics has said that unless and until we bring it down to less than 2 tons per person, say by 2050, we are headed for disaster. So bringing down this global average of 4 tons to 2 tons is not going to be a task that's possible immediately. It's going to take its time. But at the same time, it's going to be important that we start working towards it on an everyday basis. So splitting up on this, say, 4 tons of emissions, we say, again, this is based on statistics. It says that 32% of the average emissions comes from home energy. You can see the key here, where it says 32% of it is from home energy. And there is another 28% from transportation, 26% from the spending that we do, meaning what we go ahead and purchase in terms of shopping or what we buy as food, our clothing, all of that. And of course, 14% is the food you process, what you cook. Now, having said all of this, how do you mitigate based on these particular average splits? Right. Let's take the concept of transport. So rather than each one of us driving our own vehicles and even taking our two-wheelers or cars to the nearest local market, I think it's time we sort of moved or shifted in such a way that we have these concepts of carpooling, where if you decide to go to a place and you have a neighbor traveling in the same direction, go ahead, share the vehicle, go together. Or maybe if it's a local market, decide to walk, it's good for health as well. Take a bicycle rides help. And you can also always depend on the public transport in your city. These are some minor shifts that we can do. Of course, there is also this possibility of changing from a fossil fuel based vehicle to an electric vehicle, an EV. That is also a shift that we can look at. So all of this is one way of reducing your carbon footprint in terms of the transportation. Then this is about the spending, the shopping that we all do. Unless and until it is actually required, it doesn't make sense to go ahead and purchase. And a lot of these huge markets, where brands, they come up with this concept of you can donate your old clothes and get discounts in purchasing new ones. And you also get clothes in such a way where they are they've got recycled fabric used into them. So all of these are, so there again needs to be a shift in the trend or the way that we shop as well. Similarly, the kind of food we eat, it is said statistically that it's better to shift to a plant-based diet. And it will definitely, and also, the way we process and cook our food, that needs to change as well, to an extent, to be able to reduce our carbon footprint. And of course, our home by itself, the way we live, okay, or the kind of things that we do in our houses, there needs to be a shift in all of this as well to be able to reduce our carbon footprint. So when I talk about the home, because if you remember from the statistics I showed you, 38% of it is for the home energy. The emissions is caused by home energy. And how do I mitigate that 38% or how do I reduce that 38%? Is I can look at it from the perspective of energy at home, or the materials that I use at home, the kind of waste I generate at home, as well as the amount of water that I'm using. So based on this, what can I do for energy? So there is something called the 2R strategy. You reduce and you use renewables. So you can have a very efficient building design. So let's say you're going to start, you need to have a new building coming up. You want to design a new building. So look at a very efficient building design in such a way that there's a lot of daylighting that you can utilize, that there's a lot of natural ventilation that you can have in your building. This is definitely going to be cutting down on the amount of artificial lighting or the amount of artificial air conditioning that you will require within your building as such. And if you still, and if let's say you're already in a house, what do? You're not going to be building afresh. So how do you address that concept? Then that's where this aspect of energy efficient fixtures come into play. So you have energy rated fixtures, energy rated appliances that's available today, and it only makes sense for us to go ahead and utilize these. I mean, again, there is a question that would come up, which would say, what would be my capital cost, or my capital investment that goes into play? But let me tell you, the amount of payback period that you would require, even if your capital cost might be a little higher, is definitely worth it. And then, yes, you can have improved insulation for your building. You can have smart thermostats. And by smart thermostats, this is something, again, that all of us need to look at. You have all of us use air conditioners at home. But I'm not too sure of how many of us actually go ahead and reset the thermostat depending on what season we are using it in. It doesn't matter whether it's summer, it doesn't matter whether it's the monsoons. The air conditioner that was running at, say, 18 degrees or 16 degrees continues to run in the same way. Unless and until we decide to stop doing that, it's going to be very difficult to bring down your carbon footprint. And of course, you can use cool roofs. There is something called solar reflective index paints that we can use on the surface of your terraces. The SRI can be much higher, and these SRI coated terraces, they will definitely reflect away the amount of heat, and as a result of which the amount of heat that comes into your building is going to be lesser. So that will again impact the sort of air conditioning that you will require for your building as such. And of course, the minute you start reducing the amount of, or reducing your energy demand for the building, you can always go ahead and compensate what is required with renewable energy. And from an individual unit or an individual residence's perspective, solar is one of the most sought after renewable energy, I can say. Moving on next to material and waste, this is a 3R strategy. I'm sure all of you have heard about it, where we say reduce, reuse, and recycle. So you need to be very conscious about what you're purchasing, conscious about how much of waste gets generated, reduce the amount of waste that goes into these landfills. I mean, these were all concepts that perhaps maybe a generation above me. I've had my mom right from the time I remember telling me not to waste food. And every time there was some amount of organic waste that's there from the kitchen, she would make sure it's sort of, she has her own way of getting them to become manure and all of this. These are all things that we've been doing from, I really don't know when, for a very, very, very long time. But somewhere down the line, we've lost touch of all of this concept of recycling things, this concept of reusing things. We've come to a generation where we purchase something, doesn't work, we do not even think about the aspect of repairing something and reusing it. That is something that the mindset and the lifestyle needs to change. There needs to be a shift in all of this for us to be able to reduce our carbon footprint. Moving forward to water. This is the 4R strategy, where it's again reduce, reuse, recycle, and of course, replenish. So it's very significant that we bring in efficient flush fixtures. We bring in efficient flow fixtures, meaning your taps and your flushing systems at home. They need to be very efficient. You have a lot of options available in the market today. And of course, usage of landscapes rather than bringing in very exclusive types of landscaping species. It's always good to go with the native species for your landscaping because it will not consume too much of water. And at the same time, it is crucial that we recycle the amount of wastewater that we generate at home because you see there is gray water and there's black water. So the amount of gray water that gets generated at home is quite a lot, and these can very easily be reused. The black water has a certain amount of process that it can go through. This is a recycling that can happen. And yes, it can get reused again within the residence as itself. And another important aspect is your replenishing of groundwater. This is what we call in common terms as your rainwater harvesting. There are various technologies that's available today. We can go ahead and get them incorporated at home. You can go ahead and directly use the water, or you can go ahead and take it down to your aquifer zone and have your groundwater replenished as well. So these are very small things, but very significant things that each of us can do to be able to reduce our carbon footprint. So having said all of this, I mean, all of those things that I've said, you could say, I'm going to require a certain amount of investment to do all of that to reduce my carbon footprint. But here I'm giving you a set of things that you needn't actually go ahead and invest in anything, right? This is not going to cost you anything, right? Once a week for a whole day, taking unprocessed or uncooked meals, making it a conscious decision to, walk to the local market, carpooling with your friends, using public transport, switching off our mobile phones and laptops. Most often, right, we tend to have this, most of us tend to do this. Our laptops are always on sleep mode. Our mobile phones are perpetually switched on. We do not make it a point to switch off all of these gadgets. Make it a point to do that. Reduce the amount of waste that you're generating by buying only what you require, and make it a point to repair and fix things that's broken. And at the end of the day, recycle articles and materials to the best of your abilities. Now, all of these points is not going to cost you much, but it will definitely create an impact in mitigating carbon from an individual's perspective. So thank you so much. I hope I didn't take too much of time.
Yeah, that was a good insight by Sri Ranjani. It was really a good insight, like how an individual, has to understand and contribute towards a carbon footprint, like in terms of energy consumption or vehicle pooling or shift to EV. Well, really, it was a very good insight, and the kind of very basic and understandable language it was for. So thanks for a wonderful insight. And let me now shift the thing to Mr. Ramakrishnan Nagarajan, Director, Toluvam, Madurai.
Hi, good evening. Yeah, good evening all. Actually, the short period notice I couldn't prepare well. So I'm from Toluvam. I'm basically IT professional, reside at Kuwait. So now as a Toluvam, our concern, you may heard about the name Toluvam. Okay. So everyone, whoever in Tamil Nadu, the name Toluvam is common. So it is connected with our culture.
இன்னைக்கு ஒரு 20 நம்பரா நம்ம பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி
Sir, your mic is mute.
Oh, sorry, it's muted. Yeah, I'm from Toluvam. Basically, I couldn't prepare well because of the short duration. Basically, I'm an IT professional. So just I want to see you all what exactly we are going to discuss here. I'm very much keen to join. So though I did not prepare, I can share my views, whatever I know about how we are serving in cattle field. Actually, we are working for cow herds and sheep shepherds and buffalo shepherds. So far, we have connected 600 cow herds and 1,200 sheep shepherd and buffalo shepherd, almost 100 buffalo shepherds. So we have started on 2020, and then we incorporated with the NABARD in 2021 as a Toluvam FECL. So here, as a Toluvam, where we are to reduce the carbon emission. So your topic is to how to reduce the carbon emission. So we can say, I can mention only 2 points here. So carbon emission, how to reduce the carbon emission by manure management and biogas produce, we can reduce the carbon emission. Sorry, I don't
Ramakrishnan sir, Ramakrishnan sir, Premier. Sorry, I just joined now.
Yeah, you are here, so you are.
To the forum, actually, I just joined now. To all the panelists and the members, can I just take forward where Mr. Ramakrishnan has just?
Yeah, please. It is better.
So,
please, Mr.
It will be honor for me to join this panel, but I was in a sudden function, it's funeral, so I'm just coming out of it. So, to the panelists, all the people who have spoken and they have enlightened the need for carbon sequestration and carbon, soil carbon farming and other things. Toluvam is, to the team, I would like to put forward that Toluvam is the oldest surviving tradition which has done the carbon saving from ages, not 1 or 2 years, more than 2,000 years of history, more than 5,000 years of history. So this breed, what Ramakrishnan said, is Puliculam breed, one of the famous breed for use for Jalligut and other things. This breed has been in the grazing and penning sector, and this basically the 2 sectors are the backbone of entire carbon sequestration, basically. So whatever the ages, people now are telling carbon saving, carbon formation, other things. But Toluvam, the stables have, this breed has been doing it for ages by getting into the cycle of grazing and penning. Grazing and penning is nothing but the enhancement of soil, atmospheric soil carbon stored to the roots to enhance the soil carbon efficiencies and improve the entire geophysical strata of the entire geographies in the atmosphere. Right now, the biggest project right now happening in the world is North Range projects, North Rangeland projects in Kenya. It's in Africa, basically. That is a real project which assesses the pastoralist as a whole in the world to believe that pastoralism is the first profession which has done the carbon saving sequestrations in the globe before any other traditions. If you can see the latest film, Yatisei, I think a lot of people not even seen that film. If you see this film dates back to 5,000 years of history, you will find the initial hero walking down the slope of hill, that first 10 minutes of shots, that was what actually right now is still existing because of this grazing and penning you find in the southern strata of 650 kilometers. If you go to South India, it's 650 kilometers is handled by these breeds alone, and they have been successfully saving tons of carbon. Still, no one has even able to validate how much ton has been saving, because from world over, I understand, from 17th century to till now, world has decimated the carbon cycle by nearly 200%. If you say, Madam was saying something of to cut down to the limit of 2 tons, I would say 0.3 ton is the survival. If we don't go below 0.3 tons of carbon savings per footprint, we'll not be having 2030 to be a peaceful year or 2050 to be even a visible year. being in industrial and cross-industrial segments, I have seen the power, I have seen the industrial segment of oil and gas, I have seen the industrial segment of biogas generations. All this process, whatever is interlinked, basically it all happens to soil sequestration carbon, which is the essential one. Even the above the ground soil sequestration is not 100% say sustainable, but below ground carbon is the secret of the entire cycle, where the carbon is held and all the carbon banks are below ground only. In ocean, it is 2%. You can say, people say it's 2%. Below ground, whatever we have right now is the real carbon storage, which is happening. The CCS, the carbon storage, what is happening in below ground is the most effective way, and it cannot be replaced with any other mechanism. So carbon highways were there in ages and centuries. The breeds were walking, they were eating the geophysical available breeds, or using the heritage, what you say, the herbaceous or the vegetation, whatever they survive. It is a sequential, it's like a rotational. It is every year they have the same tracks, everything was done. Why the fertility in southern lands is there? Because of these breeds only. So it is a live example what is happening, and Chitra Tirula is actually the culmination of the festival. Is the culmination point of this entire journey, which starts and ends in Chitra Tirula. So it is not new things for us in South India. It is one of the age-old traditions which has been preserved well by this breed of 1,000 families, which myself, Ramakrishnan, Kabilan, and all the 20 trust members who have believed in this concept have worked for last 2 years. Successfully, we got NABARD's approval. We have done the value engineering. Now the value-added product is the A2 milk, the real A2. I'm telling, not the A2 from other breeds. Real A2 is very few in the market. It is the A2 products we have done. We have developed the streams. We have done the manure, inoculation manure. The best inoculation manure in the world is proven to be from these breeds, because the heterotopes enzymes, which is basically for the methogen microbes, are best preserved in this kind of manure, which sustains for nearly 1 year of shelf life. If I collect a manure, dry it and keep it in a stock, it is for 1 year. And this is what we are trying to apply for the carbon mechanism in the CDM fundings. So this is little bit of more tricky issues, which I'm trying to elaborate, because the biogas plants now, methane economy, which is now booming in India, all the CBG has to be blended with, now the 10% blending has been approved by Indian government. To achieve the 10%, it is a huge task. And alone, a biogas plant cannot survive on the organics or the inorganic product which is coming to the system, but you need basically sustenance manure to start and handle and sustain the biogas inoculation throughout the process. So to this, carbon farming, carbon sequestration, biogas generation, all are like a closed loop network. And this breed, if we don't conserve this breed, it will be a disaster for our entire generation. I think so. We are standing in the last line of, maybe Ramakrishnan sir can tell exactly that we are in the last line of the generation which is handling these breeds. Correct, sir? I think so. This 1,000 or 2,000 families are the last line of defense now. So our focus is to sustain this. Their socio-economic sustenance of these herders is important, and that's why Tolu is fighting hard to get the carbon credits revenue to this stream. And this is why we are all in this forum. We wanted to showcase in the forum that we have a proven, time-tested, proven technology which overrides every new technology or even the artificial intelligence can develop. Even the latest carbon storage system cannot compete with us. The reason is it's a natural born, it's a natural bred. It is the proven storage carbon sequestration procedures in the world. Anyone can do, because you can go to any pastoral land or any range lands, you will find only the herders or the grazers or the breeds surviving this entire cycle. So I rest and put forward that Ramakrishnan sir can close out. So thanks for the panel committee and the panelists to give a chance to Toluvam team to explain ourselves and put forth our views. And next means I would ask Ramakrishnan sir to take over and close it out. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Prem. As you said, yeah, you explained well. Sorry, I didn't prepare because.
No issues, sir. Let's panel. Thanks for the panel team and.
Yeah, thanks for the panel. Yeah.
Thank you.
You can forward.
So first of all, thanks for Mr. Prem Kumar joining the session. Though he was out of station, traveling, I believe. and the kind of he had shown his desperate, kind of, he wanted to show his complete knowledge, sharing his knowledge, which he had conceived through his rich experience in this carbon sequestration process. Sir, really, we wanted your insights and active participation to propagate the ideas for carbon mitigation process, sir. Thank you, Mr. Ramakrishnan, sir, who joined from Kuwait for this session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, thanks for the team, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Prem Kumar, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and next we move on to Mr. Arvind Lakshmanan, founder director of Agamam. Over to Mr. Arvind. Arvind?
Yeah. Hope I'm audible right now, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thanks for this invite. And it was very quite short notice to have a brief talk on the most important topic in the boiling pot of the world, carbon sequestration. So I'll try to be very concise with the time limit, since it being a very important topic. I'm going to discuss about the agricultural vision 2030, how we are going to address this agricultural demands by balancing the carbon sequestrations. Everyone knows that agriculture is part of the greenhouse gas emission, about 17% globally, which is not only agriculture practice, it's about the fertilizer manufacturing, it is about the livestock's methane emissions from the livestock, and also the chemical fertilizers being used in the soil, which liberates nitrous oxide and methane. So these are the greenhouse gas emissions, which we cannot leave out or which we cannot control, because by 2050 we have a global population about 10 billion people, and we don't have enough land, may say fertile land, to feed those populations. And also due to urbanization, we are losing a lot of fertile lands to the colonization of human beings, which are the Homo sapiens, the most vulnerable species, I will call. We still can't have an alternative for this agricultural practices, because we need to produce large quantities of foods. In the same way, we have to use most contagious method of agriculture to produce all the the high volume productions. What we can do to this, how to reduce this carbon footprints from agriculture, is a big challenge. Every big companies have been working on it. I'm not a big fan of renewable energy. Still, there's a big dark side of renewable energy. So we cannot find a better way to mitigate these greenhouse gas emissions from the agriculture. So what we came up with the solution is we have developed a microalgae based fertilizers. Microalgae is the most promising, affordable way of carbon capture and carbon sequestration. You don't have any other thing more affordable than microalgae. We are working on that, and now we have been setting up plants all over the seashore area to mitigate to mitigate carbon dioxide through microalgae production. And with the microalgae cultivations, we developed first of its kind fertilizers, which helps in complexing the soil to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases from the agricultural field. So these are the things that we are doing for the past 4 years, and we are getting some good support from the government as well as from the global connections. We are working on that. So what would I say is we need better agricultural practices and better responsible consumerization, as previous speaker was telling about how to be a responsible consumers. Our India is going to be the biggest consumers, and we have to be very conscious in upcoming generation. We have to make the upcoming generation more conscious about the responsible consumerization. So with this Consumerization Act and as well as the good agricultural practices, we can reduce the greenhouse gas emissions from the agricultural sectors. So we can't reduce the usage of chemical fertilizers since it is not an easy practice for the farmers to immediately adapt to a natural way, which is not possible. So utilizing microalgae based fertilizers along with the chemical fertilizers helps in the reducing of this carbon footprints from the agricultural sectors. So Agamam Lab have developed this product, and we are in the practice of like cultivating the microalgae over the coastlines of India, and we have started it in Karnataka as well as Tamil Nadu area, and the government is supporting us in all the ways, providing the land and everything. So this 1 acre of microalgae can sequester 400 times more carbon dioxide than 1 acre of the forest. And again, the advantage of the microalgae is this carbon sequestration is the important metabolite for the microalgae to grow, whereas the trees will start liberating or emitting the carbon once it is age old. So it is not the right way to make afforestation a better way for carbon sequestration. And also a fancy world of carbon engineering, which was done by Melinda Gates Foundation, Bill Gates in Alaska, which they are also like finding it a very failure model in doing the carbon capturing with advanced technology. So I request all the panel members, because here I think everyone is the leaders in the business, so they can find a way to adapt microalgae into their systems, where it will help them to mitigate the most efficient way of carbon capturing. As well as we have developed a product out of this microalgae as a fertilizer. So we have created a biocircular economy with this. So this will be a very effective way to work on carbon capture. I hope this small brief will give you an insight about how we are working. Sorry, I couldn't make presentations. So this insight will give you to how to work with the microalgae into our environment, in a work environment or a house environment. Hope this will help us go make a better place. Thank you. Thank you, Kamal sir. Hope this will be a good insight from my side. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Arvind, for a wonderful insight on the sustainable agriculture through your microalgae activities. And definitely it will show, throw some light on that area as well. Thanks for joining this panel discussion again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
With this, yeah, thank you, Arvind. So, to continue myself, I wanted to give a small kind of, introduction on my innovative solution, which is going to be a carbon sequestration product. So this is a very innovative solution, which can be as well done on a smaller scale on an individual. Every individual can Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Now it is audible, sir.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yes, we can hear you.
some connectivity issues. Yeah. This is from the company called Refinitus Intellinet. So we have developed a solution for this carbon mitigation called Liquid Tree. So this is a kind of small, it can be assumed as a tree. It is a tree which we grow microalgae in a kind of bioreactor, which will harness the power of microalgae to improve the air quality. like it is a process of photosynthesis wherein it captures the carbon dioxide, the localized carbon dioxide, and it emits the oxygen in a purest form. So this kind of innovative solution, that can be implemented in the urban areas. Like, we are now working with the government of Tamil Nadu, particularly in Chennai, even for this upcoming projects in Kelambakam bus terminus and other areas. Even we are working with ELCOT also to have this. See, ELCOT is developing a kind of oxygen park. So we have given a presentation to the higher ups to have this kind of combination of carbon sequestration products, so that this has a more advantage, as Arvind earlier told. See, algae grows very exponentially. It grows. We can cultivate algae within a 15 days span. And it again we can replenish this, and it is a continual process. So the kind of atmosphere around that area where you are planted this liquid 3 will have a complete pure oxygen. So this liquid tree will be the first of its kind to be planted, in Chennai, maybe in India as well, and to address issues of increase in greenhouse gas emissions and improve the air quality in the densely populated area, urban area. So this device, normally contains a kind of container, glass container, wherein liquid water is contained, and we grow microalgae in that, and we have some kind of capturing units where it captures the carbon around that area, and it produces pure oxygen. So this is the process. So this replaces. You see, if you compare with the kind of, if you wanted to have a comparison with the natural tree plantation and plants, this has, if you say, if I'm putting a liquid tree that contains 600 liters of water and microalgae, which is almost equal to grown trees. That grown trees, say, it takes almost 10 years to grow, to have that kind of full-fledged activity what this does, which this does, like the liquid tree does. So it almost replaces the the kind of plantation. So what I meant to say is, in the urban area where you don't have the kind of area to plant trees, and where the functions where the kind of area restrictions are there, this can be placed, and you can have a complete carbon sequestration can be done through algae. So which definitely will have a game changer. So we have developed this concept, and we are working towards see, mainly this has to be worked along with the government or the NGO bodies, like even I discussed with Prem Kumar sir also. So he is also very much interested. So we as a team, this IGEN is also, we are working with IGEN also to propagate this kind of innovative acts. See, as Madam Sri Ranjani says, it has to be a retail kind of thing. See, every individual has to take, how best I can reduce my carbon footprint. It is a right way of. So this is the next level where it can be an organized segment. See, I can put it in an IT park. I can put it in a bus terminus. I can put it in an market area. So the kind of whole. So once you multiply this to the whole city, say Chennai, if you plant 100 numbers of liquid tree in a spread area, definitely this is going to work out on in a progressive way, and we'll see a change in the reduction of carbon. That can be, this is an AI-based situation where you can monitor everything. See, you can monitor how much of carbon dioxide I'm taking in, and how much of oxygen I'm producing, so that it is all data based. So you can see the maybe the bureaucrats from the secretariat or from their office, they can see, like, Chennai now how much it has been reduced after planting this liquid tree. So this is one of real. It would be a real game changer when we do plan these kind of liquid tree or activities, where it is also very cost effective also. So I think this would definitely means a lot in my contribution towards carbon mitigation. So that is what I wanted to put forth here in this forum. So anybody interested, like, the participants or any kind of institutions who have joined this forum can definitely join. I mean, contact us or even IGEN. So we are working with IGEN also to propagate this to the government bodies. So we can have a joint forum. So you see, it cannot have as I said, like, it is a network. You can definitely have to work together to take these ideas to a longer ways, like, furthermore. Like. So I think this is my topic on my carbon mitigation this thing. So I think with this we are concluding this today's session. So we can end up with the session for today's with the keynote that carbon emission, as Sri Ranjani madam said, like, it has to be on a individual idea. Like, every individual has to take the responsibility, like how best they are reducing their carbon footprint. Like how I said, like, my plant would reduce that area, like how much I'm contributing myself in mitigating the carbon and giving a fresh quality air. So likewise, every individual has to work on their kind of on an idea, like how they are reducing the carbon footprint. Definitely we'll have a cleaner earth, a cleaner planet way ahead. So thank you all once again for this wonderful panel discussion. And thank you, IGEN, for giving this opportunity to have a discussion on this climate mitigation. So thank you all, sir, once again.
Thank you, Kamal, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone, for the wonderful propaganda, as well as the request thrown to the common public on how to control the carbon emissions. So that is one part. As an individual, coin has two sides. So as an organization, we work together to bring about a change to the world. But individually, how we need to adhere with the principles and policies to ensure that we are not wasting the resources. That is very much important. And we also had an opportunity that natural methodologies are also available, but we are not aware of it. So that is one thing. The primitive vegetation, what people are talking about is when agriculture is the only process where a huge amount of water is being taken inside and it is a waste of energy. So that's the portrayal that is being given. But we could understand that from the words from all these people. So we see that the carbon is naturally fermented, and the carbon is already, it is being digested by the plantations, and it is captured naturally, and it is in the life cycle itself, it is been taken care. So like the grass is capturing the carbon, and the cow is going to eat it, and through this cow dung, it is going to reach the end user. So all these are a process management. But when it is going to be an industrialization, so all these things comes into an industrial process where carbon seems to be a menace, where a huge amount of carbon dioxide is being released. And would there be any possibility that it could be curtailed from this environment so that we can protect the world for the future? So that was the question, and it was a myth which need to be broken. But when a problem is broken into small pieces, it's a small thing only. So it is an easier opportunity for everyone, that if equally we are contributing for it, everyone can handle the situation in a easier way and we can also adhere in our home. So that is the possibility that was given by Sri Ranjani ma'am as well. So it was a good opportunity that everyone has taken an insight of all such formulas that is available around us. And this is going to be an initiation. It is going to be a pre-conference only. So it is an initiation that people have thrown light on certain areas that they are working on. So going forward, we would connect together to make a common forum where everyone would be contributing their own technology as well as the process management shared with the society, so that we can join together to curb this menace. So it is a carbon. So that's the word which has been always the talk of the town. So what we can do is that the carbon is not a menace, but we can also sequestrate it. So that means to say we can also take gold out of it, so diamond out of it, and we can also earn out of it. When there is a problem, there it should be addressed, and that should be giving a profit margin too. So like there is an opportunity to earn from carbon also. That is the point that was taken care. So carbon sequestration is other methodology that has been taken care. Thank you so much, panelists, for your time. In the short notice, we have made the opportunity to throw light on all the areas, and I hope all the participants also have enjoyed it, and hope we stay connected. So in the end of the program, so we can share our address so that everyone can connect with each other. So that is the opportunity where Kamal sir, you can take care of such things, so that all the panelists are sharing their email IDs so that they can share their information.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you,
Panelists, as well as the participants. So thank you, and the further programs will be continuing. So Radha Mohan sir, you can take care of the things, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bala sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
So the next session, we move on for the poster release. I will share the screen. So can you make me host? I'm not able to share. I'm Dr. Zahira.
Madam, I'm not in admin
not
mode. I'm not in admin mode.
No, Hari, they have made it, ma'am. So now you can share.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Zahira, madam, please take over.
Thank you, sir. I will take over, sir. Okay, thank you. So is the screen visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Perfect.
Yeah. So this is our release of poster version 1 speakers. So we are having a n number of speakers from global, and this is a version 2 of speaker. So now I will discuss about the final timings. So we are planning for a conference or a marathon by May 27th, 2023. It starts from 7 a.m. So now I am going to share the final schedule of IGEN 2023, which is held by 27th May. So the first slot session is starting from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. This session is allotted to panel discussion, role of battery energy system. It is by Power Projects team. Mr. Selvakumar sir is heading this. And by 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., we are going to organize the sustainability energy, a boom or a ban, a school students debate. So this session is headed by Dr. Ishrat ma'am and also Kavita ma'am. So next we are moving on to the inauguration session. By 9 a.m. we are starting our inauguration, and then continued with the VVIP talk. It is from 10 to 10:30 for half an hour. And then again Dr. Sendil sir session. It's starting by 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. So it is about decarbonization power sector conclave. And then next by 11:30 to 12:15 p.m. we are having a fun and learn SDG with 7 NSAVE clubs, so which is headed by Madan Kumar sir and team. And then by 12:15 to 12:45. For half an hour, we are having a officer institution session. So in this, total of 7 academic institutions have involved. So these are the institution from which the organizer are here. So they will be having a throw light on the reports from United Nations, and then they will be discussing about the sustainability and energy goals which are already reported. And then by 12:45 to 1:30 p.m. we are having a session of energy sustainability in space community. It's a student action plan. So it is headed by Satya and Kavita. And then by 1:30 to 2 p.m. we are having SDG 7 action best practices presentation by teams. 8 to 10 teams are participating. So this team is headed by Anuradha ma'am and Solay Manohar sir. And then by 2 to 3 p.m. we are moving on to emerging technologies for clean and affordable energy. So this session is headed by Professor Dr. R. Vignakumaran sir. And after that, by 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. we are having a eminent talk with energy talks with Ashish. So this will be headed with Ashish Kumar sir. And then continued with this energy talk, we are having a technology innovation for sustainability development. So this is a star speaker, Rania Lampo. So she will be delivering her session by 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. So by their country's time, it will be 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. So we are connected globally, so they have allotted time accordingly. And then again a VVIP session part 2. It is by 5 to 5:30 p.m. led by Sinha. And then continued with VVIP session, we will be having a funding opportunities to achieve SDG 7 projects by 5:30 to 6 p.m. So this team is headed by Mohanasundaram sir and Revati ma'am. And then again we are moving on to a small panel discussion for 1 hour from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. So panel discussion about clean energy transport. So this is headed by Sujata ma'am and Mr. Dennis Jangan. And then again we are following to one competition session by 8 to 8:30 for half an hour. We are having a student competition on SDG 7 cement and energy efficient innovation. So this team is headed by Suresh and Elarsi ma'am. So tomorrow we are having a competition sessions pre-rounds. So as a pre-conference 3, we are having all these 3 sessions by tomorrow as a pre-conference round. So student competition. The finalists will be presenting on 27th May by 8 to 8:30 p.m. And then continued with this again a star speaker from LM Global Partners. So Birkan Anvers, she is going to deliver a potential of renewable energy in Turkey ecosystem, friendly architecture and global partnerships by the time 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And then we are having the session of Smile for Miles SDG Global Partners Conclave by Mr. Deepak and team. And then by 10:15 p.m. to 11:15 p.m. we are having energy and climate dialogues, which is headed by Mr. Zain and Veniza. And then again coming to the panel discussions by 11:15 to 11:45. So it will be a back-to-back talk with the big data in energy optimization. So it is like a panel discussion. So for this 18 hours marathon, again we are ending up with the valedictory with the IGEN team and partners by 11:45 p.m. to 12:30 p.m. So this is the actual schedule for 27th. So I invite all the participants and more viewers for this IGEN 2023 event and make it as a grand success. So if you have any doubt on the timings, then you can discuss in the meetings. So now I call upon Satish sir to deliver the oath of thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to all. I am privileged to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of IGEN ENERGATHON 2023 conference and that entire fraternity of our IGEN team. My sincere thanks to our today speakers, Sri Ranjani Madam, Srinivasan sir, Kamal sir, and Ramakrishnan and Prem sir from that Tolum team, and Aravindan sir and Kamal sir. And I am also continued my sincere thanks to our President of IGEN, Dr. L. Ramesh sir, and Vice President of IGEN, Dr. J. Balamurugan, sir, and Mr. Engineer Hudson Egbert, General Secretary of IGEN, and Mr. Gogul sir and Dr. S. Sendil Kumar sir, and also my sincere thanks to Dr. Mohan Sundaram sir, V. Rangarajan sir, and M. Sendil Kumar, Selva Kumar sir, and also who are all the team member for this IGEN team. And also I extend my sincere thanks to my organizer and team members of IGEN. Thank you once again to all.
Thank you, Satish sir.
Ma'am Sakira, ma'am, you can check it with Krishna, ma'am, whether he posted the certificate link, then you can close, ma'am.
Okay, sir. So actually, I have missed one session, SDG 7 Global Research Analysis and Conclave. The timing is from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. This session is headed by the Dr. Radharam Mohan sir. Actually, I missed the session. So participants, the session feedback link is open here. So you can give your feedback and get your certificates. It's in the chat box. So thank you all for spending your valuable times and participating here.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari, you can stop the live session so that in case if we want to have private chats also, we can have here.